Now I see you. I see you.
You can let that rock a little bit there.
Hey, I see you, bro.
Yeah, man.
Welcome back,
brother Evan.
Hey, man, I see you pop locking or whatever they call that dance you used to do. Brothers and sisters, welcome back to Straight Words. Straightwords.com is the website. That's how you can go and help us to stay on the air. We're into our second year. Is that right, Brother Naba? Second year? And we're
going brother, strong. We begin to the second year, man. We thinking of doing I think we should do a physical event. I just got to figure out when. So me, you, and Brother BJ and Sister Jeanette need to get together. But we love to have everybody come on out so we get to meet you and all of that. I'm thinking, Brother James, maybe in August. That'll give us some time to plan. But we're going to be marking our anniversary on air in about 2 weeks.
In 2 weeks,
2 weeks, and we'll be celebrating the birthday anniversary of the minister at the same time.
Yes.
So we're going to devote all 3 hours to that. So we definitely want you to call in and share and all of that good stuff, you know.
But though, bro, you have been successful in staying on the air for two years. You know how that happened? By the generous donations of our brothers and sisters who support this show. That's how you lasted 2 years, man. So for those who want to see another year, go to straightwords.com. Find the best way you want to contribute by Zelle, Cash App, or give Brother Naba a text at 312-480-9775 and say, here's to another year, brother, and drop that $1,000 donation. And if you don't have 1,000, drop 100. If you don't have 100, drop 10. But drop until it hurts. That's my pitch, Brother Naba. Brothers and sisters, join the conversation. Yes, sir. 773-591-1690. What we got going, Brother Naba?
Well, we're coming back, brother, to a very important subject, you know, and it's I'll say this, brothers and sisters. When somebody loses their life,
man,
you can't give it back.
Yeah.
You know, and so we're gonna bring in Brother Shaheed M. Allah. He's a lecturer. He is an author. He's a proud member of Omega Psi Phi, as is James G. Muhammad, who you've been listening to, another good Omega man.
Yes,
I'm a member of Kappa Alpha Psi.
Oh, no.
But we wanted to come back because previously we talked about the tragic death of Brother Caleb Wilson at Southern University, an engineering student, a musician, just a great young man who lost his life during an unofficial, unsanctioned process that some people got involved with. And there was a graduate student. A graduate student has been one of those now charged.
Yeah.
And the graduate chapter president, we read a couple of weeks ago, had been basically relieved from dealing with the Southern University ban. We don't know why yet. But then, as I said, when we talked about this, a week ago, that tragedy happened with Omega Psi Phi, but it could have been Kappa Alpha Psi. And I look today, Brother James, what do I see? Yes, Muhammad University, not Muhammad. Muhammad. Not Muhammad, okay? I want y'all to say that with me. Not Muhammad.
No, not Muhammad.
Not Muhammad. We don't do that at all. Not at all. Miami University of Ohio, accusing some brothers in Kappa Alpha Psi of beating pledges or candidates or recruits, whatever you choose to call them. And they were going, this is Miami University in Ohio. They were going to ban the chapter for life. They have now instituted a 15-year suspension, which almost may be a ban for life, because it's kind of hard to come back from that.
Yeah.
But anyway, one of the things that's being alleged, and this is really sad, brothers and sisters, is that there were alumni of the school. Okay? An alumni of the school, according to what the school officials are saying, that were part of this. But not only that, Brother James, the university said that there's a quote unquote troubling pattern.
Yeah.
With Kappa Alpha Psi at Miami University of Ohio, which had already been on probation since 2022 for a similar situation. So, Brother Shaheed M. Allah.
Yes.
Are you
yes,
there?
Sir. Assalamu alaikum.
What do you What do you think about those and other developments? Because there was something you sent me. You sent me something, I believe. And if you did, why don't you share that, and then we can get into it, okay? Otherwise, I'll find it and talk about it.
And then you should reintroduce him for those who aren't familiar, who didn't tune in last week.
Yeah. This is Brother Shaheed M. Allah. He is a lecturer. He is a writer. He is the author of the soon-to-be republished Thy Kingdom Come, where he explores the Black fraternities, commonalities, meanings, certain wisdom related to them. And that's a great book. You want to get it when it comes out. So, Brother Shade, you're going to have to tell us when we can get it. And he's a proud member
Yes, sir.
of Omega Psi Phi, and he happens to be a great Muslim with a very powerful daughter who's walking that path to doctorhood. So go ahead, my brother. Start wherever you wish.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Well, first of all, I want to give all praises to Allah, who came in the person of Master Fard Muhammad. And furthermore, bear witness to the presence, the divine presence of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad, who is alive and well and in power. And also thank the timeless work and dedication of the Messiah and our Mr. Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. It is in that great line of divine that I would like to greet the listening audience with the greetings of peace in the Arabic language, Assalamu alaikum. And I just want to add that I am an active FOI, Fruit of Islam.
Go ahead now. Go ahead now.
I carry 170 final calls a week. 170. I'm challenging for those FOI out there listening. I carry 170 final calls a week. I don't stack them. I redistribute the light, penetrating light, coming from the Final Call newspaper, which represents that brassed truth, the trumpet that the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan has nobly trumpeted for decades. Think about a man who came into the Nation of Islam in 1955 and who's still going strong.
Yeah.
What's our excuse? Why do we want to wallow in the depths of hell where there's darkness? And when I speak about hell, I'm not talking about a spooky place under the ground, with some guy with a red leotard suit on, with spikes sticking up out of his head. prodding people with a pitchfork. Man, come on now. We too mature in our growth and development to believe that is that type of person. But, there's something about that pitchfork, Brother James and Brother Naba, and what's the other brother's name? VJ or DJ?
Yeah, BJ is not on tonight.
Right.
Okay. Well, when you look at that pitchfork, let's look at it carefully. Especially those of us who are familiar with the black fraternal and sororital symbols. That pitchfork resembles a couple of things.
Yeah.
Y'all familiar with Aquaman?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
What does he have in his hand when he's swimming in the depths of the sea, communicating with the sea life? Doesn't it look like a pitchfork? It also looks like
the side.
Brother, the side.
Uh-huh.
The side, the Q side, right?
Yeah.
We must study the signs and symbols of life within our organization, because the side is not just present in Omega Psi Phi, it's present in Kappa Alpha Psi. Isn't that correct, Brother Nava?
Absolutely. Yes, sir.
And we must study the symbols and signs that represent our organizations, because within them is life. We can draw life and light and wisdom and understanding from those signs. Now, in ancient Kemetic times or Egyptian times, the Caucasian man says Egypt or Egyptos, but the land of the black ones, Kemet, in East Asia, as they call Africa, there's a sign that is in among the statues and within the hieroglyphics and some of our Afrocentric brothers and sisters call it the Metunetsu, the language that was spoken among our people at that time. It's called the Ka sign. Our brothers over in the East, they say the Middle East, our Muslim brothers and sisters, who the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad said we must unite with, they have what's called a Kaaba. But in ancient Egypt, the Ka represented life and light and inspiration, and the Ba represented the spirit. See, we have to go deep into what still resides around us in order to draw life, light, and wisdom and understanding, because in it is that which is going to resurrect us so that we don't wallow in the shadows of ignorance. That Ka sign, Brother James, is otherwise known as in Omega Psi Phi as the hooks, right?
Yeah.
We throw that up. You got the hooks up, and your head is in the middle, and you look like a Psi.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the Caucasian man turned it around and said there's a devil holding a pitchfork, and he's prodding people. And when you look Psi up in the dictionary, you Google it, it says Psi also represents the paranormal or the spiritual side of us. And among us who are mentally dead, those lights are off. Now, I want to draw a parallel with that Ka sign in the hooks and the Psi. In the Masonic ritual, when Hiram Abiff is slaughtered by Jubelo, Jabella, and Jabelam at Solomon's temple, Solomon reaches in to give him the master Mason grip. Now, I'm going to respect the ritual, even though that information is out there, because there's a white Mason in 1826 he thought he was going to expose the Illuminati and all that. So he exposed the first 3 degrees of the ritual, and this is one of the things that he exposed. But for those who read, that grip is otherwise known as the grip of the Lion of Judah. And that grip of the Lion of Judah is supposed to resurrect Hiram Abiff. Is also a grand hailing sign of distress. That Ka sign, that the hooks that the brothers are always throwing up, there's deep ancient meaning in that. And these are the type of things that we have to reintroduce, sometimes introduce, because some of the new brothers, even some of the old brothers, don't know this type of history. But when you understand this history and don't keep it a secret, because there are no more secrets, because upon the coming of Master Fard Muhammad and the raising up of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad and the presence and the power and influence of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan among us, we should know better. There should
Brother Shay, let me jump in right here. I want you to go straight to how does that relate to, because a lot of people don't quite understand where you're going. I want you to go straight to how does that relate to this thing of hazing, death, 2025, all right. And then have there been any other developments in the tragedy of our brother Caleb Wilson?
All right. Thank you for allowing me to lay the base, because we got to lay a base, a foundation, so that I can say what I want to say. The death of Caleb and the ongoing ignorant things that we continue to do, like what just popped up at Miami University in Ohio among some of your fraternity brothers, is because of the lack of the light of the knowledge of self that Master Fard Muhammad brought to us in the hells of North America, and it's still being transmitted through the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. Now, some people say, man, that's far-fetched, man. You're saying that because we don't have the knowledge of ourselves by your way, the Nation of Islam way. I'm not saying that you have to become an FOI, although the Master Fard Muhammad said, make all men and boys FOI. What I'm saying is, until those of us in our respective organizations, Alpha Phi Alpha, Phi Beta Sigma, Kappa Alpha Psi, Omega Psi Phi, Iota Phi Theta, which is one of the new organizations, but it's a national organization founded in 1963 at Morgan State University, until we open our eyes and begin to study deeply, these type of things will continue to happen because we're not walking in the light and knowledge of ourself. These are acts of men who are yet asleep. What was the name of the movie, Sixth Sense? And the child was saying, I see dead people.
Yeah.
No offense. Yeah. Now, I do not mean to offend, but look at you, those of us who were sitting up in a home with lights on, fine clothes, fine jewelry. We claim to have been educated at the best institutions, sitting up at home with luxury, yet all of the lights are off inside of your mind. And when the lights are off, you're going to trip and you're going to do things like what happened to Caleb. You're going to do things like what happened at Miami University in Ohio. It's going to continue to happen until you turn all of the lights on, and then you can see clearly what you need to do. And there must be repair for this child's family. Caleb, not so much, don't want to get into litigation, so you can file a lawsuit. Repair in the sense, let us all come together, all of our organizations, under the umbrella of Pan-Hell.
Hey, Brother Shaheed.
And use this example, this family, and begin to produce a repairing, not just an apology, but how many children are left within Caleb's family among his parents? Does anybody need any help with school? Does anybody need any type of therapy? Is there any other type of need? Let's use that family as an example to repair, to bring repair. During the Million Man March, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan talked about repair, the root word of reparation. We must begin to bring a repair within our families, within our communities, within our nation. We can't wait on the mystery God to do it, and we sure can't wait on OKD to do it.
Mm-hmm. The Brother Novel was mentioning the Kappa Alpha Psi fraternity in Miami U. They were already on probation. So, I mean, you ran through the lack of knowledge, but these are some graduates, I think. I don't know if it was this case or the one in Louisiana, but they were already on probation, yet didn't have the wherewithal to understand that you can't be doing something like they did, and you're already on probation. Can you speak to that mentality as well? I mean, I know you kind of touched on it already, but what else is going on there? I mean, these are older young men too, I would imagine, some of them.
Well, if I may, I would like to quote the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan in a past delivery that he did before the Pan-Hell conference. And he says this: what is wrong with us that we fear new ideas? I didn't come to school, but I did come to impact knowledge, maybe knowledge you've never thought existed before. How could a young man impart knowledge to me, an elder who has crossed the burning sands? I say to you, beloved brothers and sisters, you have not crossed the burning sands yet. You're still traveling in a cable tow, not realizing you've been stripped of your garments. All of you have on is a loincloth, and your education and your doctorate degree barely covers the nakedness of your minds while your people suffer in the ghettos of America. How in the hell can you tell me you've crossed the burning sands and they haven't got over yet? I'm here to appeal to you tonight as a brother who wanted to be a member of the great Greek fraternal organization, and now he is. This is done back in 1978. I was once a lamp. In fact, I am still a lamp, and my light is burning brighter today than ever before for those who walk in darkness. And so that was back in 1978, and we still walk in the darkness among our organizations. So regardless of whether they are in probate status and, or they've been released from probate status, they're still making the same mistakes because they haven't submitted or come into agreement with the knowledge that's going to bring them up to a perpendicular square, meaning standing upright. And this is what is plaguing our organizations and plaguing our communities. And while our youth are still shooting and killing one another and harming our elderly people and why our nation is collapsing is because we haven't come into agreement with the knowledge that has been presented to us. Quite interestingly, we're coming up on the 92nd birth anniversary of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, and the 92nd chapter of the Holy Quran is entitled Alel, the Night. And it says, in the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Merciful, by the night when it draws a veil, and the day when it shines, the creating of the male and the female, you were striving. Your striving is surely for diverse ends. So we must be mindful that we must work while it's day, because the minister warned us. He did a delivery called the Divine Destruction. He said, when Allah removes me, that's when the divine destruction is really going to be ramped up. Mm-hmm. And I think we sometimes take the minister for granted and just think some of us think he's just talking and forget who this man is. Mm-hmm. And so here's a man who spoke to Black Pan Hell back in 1978. Did they listen?
Mm-hmm. Did you go through, when you went through your pledge period, as I did as well? I don't know when you crossed, but did you experience? Yeah, you experienced then some of this that we're talking about now, right? Or did you?
Well,
yeah. So it's been going on quite a long time, and I don't know if you dealt with it in your book, but
I did.
I don't. Yeah. Okay. So the founders, it wasn't this kind of. I don't think, because I haven't really studied it like you have, but the hazing aspect of this. Do you have any thoughts on, or any knowledge on, like, when this got introduced, how it diverted from being a scholarship and manhood, uplift, perseverance, as opposed to now hazing in order to prove your manhood?
Well, from my experience, when I came through in 1984, 41 years ago, I think that the individuals, we started out with 5, and all that was left was 3 of us. I was the tail on that line. And it were like 40 brothers on the yard, and which is kind of unusual for a private white institution to have 40 active, financially active brothers on the yard. But Syracuse was a unique experience, and it was a good experience. We had a frat house, and good in the sense, and for the pledges, it was an unfortunate thing because nobody could hear you scream down there in that basement. But anyways, you had brothers that were in the military, some brothers that came through Vietnam in the 70s, some of the grad bros, they come back and they want to, get a piece of you and, put their little 2 cents into the equation. And then you had brothers that were in school, some of them were from the streets, and they want to add their little, 2 cents in there in your process. And so the process is always, although there's a structure, it always is reflective of the individuals that are present during that particular dispensation in time. So you had brothers that were incorporating certain things that they learned from basic training as Marines or men in the Navy or whatever. Then you had brothers, like I say, from the streets that were in college, and they had their way of indoctrinating people, and then just the toughness of the black man. You trying to produce a lion cub. You want to make somebody tough, and you think you make somebody tough by knocking him upside his head, or doing certain things that you saw in the movies or that somebody may have taught you when you were younger, and so you bring it on to college campus. And so today it just continues, although, again, there's structure. And now the difference now is that there's no more public pledging, Brother Naba and Brother James. Remember, when I pledged in 1984, that was the end of the era because it was the 6 weeks above and how many other weeks of underground that you pledged. The blessing of pledging publicly is people knew you were pledging. You dressed in a certain uniform, hair shaved down, military boots on and military jacket, and it produced more structure. I think they actually need to bring it back because people knew you were going through it. The administration on campus knew you were going through it, and they could monitor it better. And it also produced a sense of pride and unity because you're running around, and when your line brothers are running around, you run around in line and you're cutting the corners and all that, you're greeting the brothers. It was a lot of inspiration on the campus. So when that was taken away, we lost something which this younger generation now feels like they need to play catch up or they need to emulate as much as they can. So they think that by beating the starch out of somebody they're going to catch up and they'll be able to compare. They're wrong. I think, as I said, I think it was last week, I said all of our organizations, we need to go back and study what we have and allow lecturers to come in to train us, teach and train us and bring us up so that we understand what's going on. And I think we also need therapy because all of us who have been hazed and beaten, we need therapy, man. And even the young brothers coming through, they need therapy so that they don't abuse those coming behind them, and so they don't abuse their own families when they start families. Because if you're hazing pledges, what you gonna do to your wife? What you gonna do to your children?
Yeah. And that's kind of taught into us too. Yeah. Because when I look,
go ahead, Brother. I'm gonna go after you.
No, I was just going to mention the one thing about, of course, it needs to change. The hazing needs to stop. But the one thing that the one impact it had on me in my life is that it drew us closer because we had to depend on one another. That would be the only really positive thing that I would say, even though they took it too far. But the tests would be good. The mental tests are good. The physical, anything physical, no. But the mental tests are good. But that would be the only thing for me. It really built a stronger bond among us because we had to depend on each other, basically, for survival through that period. Go ahead, brother.
Yes.
No, I was just going to say that in Caleb's case, because there have been some developments, that now you have 3 young men: Isaiah Smith, 28, Caleb McCrae, 23, Kyle Thurman, 25, who have all, they were charged in relationship to hazing and his death. And they've also subsequently been suspended from Omega Psi Phi as well.
Yeah.
And I think that as you were saying, Brother Shaheed, and from what I read, this more physical. Well, one, there's a long history of hazing in this country, and there was hazing in Britain in private schools in different locations or whatever. So this thing of proving your manhood. You've got young men who want to measure up, and I think like you said, Brother Shaheed, they want to feel like they were made right.
Yeah.
Right.
But
Yeah.
but to me, it's like, how can you be made right? One, when we bring these young men in, they sign basically a pledge or an agreement or a waiver where they say that they will not participate in hazing, right? And that they will report hazing if they see it. So you've given your word, but then you turn around and you violate your word. Now, for some people, especially at that age, it doesn't mean much. But to other people, it means a lot. And this is why sometimes brothers, who have gone through this process, some of them don't even affiliate with the organization after they're initiated. They just, they're so disillusioned.
Yeah.
They're so disillusioned. Yeah. So and I said this, I think the last time we talked, like you said, Brother Shahid, coming out of darkness into light, understanding who we are. And I know we talked about this before. Each of the fraternities, each of the sororities, in their own way, try to make us better, right? Each of them. And each of them have their unique histories, even though we have, I guess really the majority founded at Howard. And then you got the Kappas out of Indiana University, hotbed of racism, 1911, isolation, oppression, lynchings, all these things. You have those at Howard University that is looked at as an incubator to create leadership that will help to move our people forward. So there were always these noble principles. And from what I read, it was kind of what you said, Brother Shahid, military veterans coming back, whether it was the 50s. And then as they went to school, this more physical aspect increased. But I think the fact that, for me, alumni, even if you are a couple years removed from school, right? I guess the thing that bothers me is you have had your chance to experience this thing. So you come back, you're doing something that's illegal. Where is any thought to try to make sure people exercise some control to protect the chapter itself so that others can come through? But when you don't respect the organization that you're supposed to be a part of enough to obey its laws, and it didn't sanction you to initiate anybody, you are in bad standing. Don't tell me you love that organization.
Yeah.
Don't tell me you love that organization. And I think, like at Miami Kappa Alpha Psi chapter, Miami University of Ohio. From what I read, they're saying that some of the same people that were involved in incidents that led to the chapter being suspended in 2022, same people were involved in the thing that got them almost suspended forever. And it's painful because, you think, Caleb, man, and he's not the only one. I think the only frat that I saw where someone had not lost their life pledging was Iota Phi Theta.
And that's just because they haven't been around long enough for those type of numbers to be generated. And they may also just be exercising a certain degree of discretion and not disclosing. It could vary, but time is short. I just wanted to make a few points. And I don't know if we have any questions, but I want to say, brother, when our organizations were founded, and I'll even include the Boule, Sigma Pi Phi, not necessarily a collegiate organization. They were founded by 6 black doctors, and they kind of bougie and based in the tenets of Skull and Bones. But Alpha Phi Alpha was founded in 1906. This was around the time of the coming of Master Fard Muhammad when he first came to North America. And we don't know what kind of influence he had on these organizations. We know he influenced the Jehovah's Witness and different organizations. He was a professor out in LA at a certain college. We don't know what his interaction was with the founders or whatever, but we do know that there are signs and symbols within our organization that can relate to the teachings of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad, the burning sands, dating back to the history of Yaqub running the May Devil across the hot Arabian Desert, 2,200 miles into the caves of West Asia and the hillsides, as they now call Europe, and the binding and the rope, which they, during the transatlantic slave trade, they had our people in bondage for 3 centuries. That was illegal. We've never been repaired for that. Now, when our organizations were founded, it was illegal for a black organization to hold clandestine, secret meetings. So when our respective alpha and beta chapters of Alpha Phi Alpha, Kappa Alpha Psi, Phi Beta Sigma, Omega Psi Phi were founded in those early 1900s, it was actually illegal, quote unquote, for us to have sacred meetings where we could talk about empowering ourselves.
Yeah.
So we must remember from whence we came and how sacred and valuable our organizations were and are, and that if we destroy those vessels that God gave us the grace to empower ourselves, then hell awaits us. So when our young brothers realize that you were destroying the foundation or part of the foundation that lifts us up, I think that they'll have a better sense of self-worth and begin to preserve these organizations the way that I know that they can, because there are a lot of them out there that are doing great jobs. I know my undergraduate chapter that I came to the frat through, Kappa chapter, they didn't get chapter of the year at Second District Council this year. They got it, I think it was last year, but they have a high academic average. They do community service. I want to highlight the good that we do. I don't want to just beat them down, because when you just browbeat them, they're not going to listen. And I also want to invite them out, locally. I'm active at Muhammad's Mosque number 4, brother student Minister Kadir and brother student Captain Aaron, who do a great job with the men in training. Come on out to 3160 Pennsylvania Avenue on a Sunday in Southeast DC and check us out. Go on out in Chicago to Mosque Mariam over there on Stony Island Avenue and hear the life-giving teachings of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad by way of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, because there's a life in that word. Go to www.noi.org and tune in on a Sunday if you can't make it out to the mosque. Go to your respective religious organizations and get that light and inculcate it into your behavior, your norms and your mores, because life ain't all about hitting the next fine chick on campus and, making some Omega oil and getting drunk and smoking weed and sniffing blow and all that. We got to grow up, man.
Right. To your point, you coming to the mosque, brothers coming to the mosque, makes them understand the real meaning of what they've entered into in terms of the fraternity, man. They get that root knowledge of themselves that makes them a better brother. I know it made me a better brother. So I mean, that elevates your, your standing, your knowledge of what you are, what your goal and purpose really is, even as a member of the quote unquote fraternity. Is to me, the nation was a higher level of that brotherhood. It made me see a more spiritual aspect of the brotherhood. The fraternity was more on a physical level because the bond was built, but the nation made me see it on a spiritual realm where I could, and it gave me the knowledge of self that made me understand all of the things that I went through in pledging and the rituals and, like you said, the sand, burning sands and all that. It brought more understanding and knowledge to those processes. So it made me a better brother, in my opinion. So you're absolutely correct. But
yes, sir.
I know we're running up.
I appreciated my process.
Oh yeah,
I appreciate it. I mean, hey man, and I'm not going to talk about whatever injuries I may have sustained while playing that basketball game with the big brothers, and whatever happened, man, in that basement or whatever. I'm not going to talk about that, but,
Well, I wanted to bring in.
It was good for us, man.
Yeah. I want to bring in Tommy. Tommy, we got you for about 2 minutes, brother Tommy. You on the line?
Yes, sir. My dear blessed brothers, I say assalamu alaikum to you.
Well,
alaikum salam.
I've spoken with you in the past. I just want to tell you what your organization did for my life. And I am not a Muslim, but my father was in, not my father, my aunt's husband was in World War II, and he was a Red Ball Express driver. Mm. And those that served with him were Muslims and individuals of all faiths. And he took me to the mosque. And I actually had the opportunity to hear the Honorable Elijah Muhammad speak. Mm. And then along my life, I had the opportunity to literally sit across from the Honorable Minister Farrakhan. I told you this story, and I keep telling this story and will continue to tell this story because the foolishness of us as a nation is the broad brushes in which we paint with, and we don't recognize and understand the teachings of watchmen. I mean, all you had to do was be there in the atmosphere. I mean, brothers, I was young. I had no clue. And I say this to you, I had no clue of the greatness of standing on 79th Street and the silver half moon sickle that was there, or the restaurant or the paper. That's why I tell a Negro quick, man, I'm 73 years old and I'll meet anybody on the cross on the 9 because I'm just a kid from Chicago who followed the law. I followed the law, and it would be the teachings and the readings. See, most people if you want to understand, you want to know why we all messed up, because the truth we seek are in books. They're in that Quran. See, and watch this. Even with the Pope, watch this. This is the only Pope. I don't care nothing about the Catholics at all. Period. And the reason why I say this and stuff, man, is just simply based upon the hypocrisy that we know that runs through any organization that is unchecked, and especially if you stand for one thing and another thing is happening and you act like it's not. But this particular Pope, this particular one, this was the one who shared all of the primacy. He didn't walk around with all the fine robes. He didn't live in the mansions. Do you hear where I'm coming from, brothers? Because if you can hear it in my voice, I just don't understand us, man. Damn, you understand the people that has come, the watchmen, the knowledge? Do you you understand where we could be if we just had the basic discipline and principles of the mosque, man? My God, where would we be? Where would our children be? How can anybody sit up and say they sit up and see kids wild all out down in Chicago and people running around talking about our kids, and then turn around and white folks is beating the hell out of the police out there on the lakefront and Lollapalooza and everything green, and you got to sit up and beg and plead and prompt and tell an individual how important certain segments. It says in Rome, damn, do what the Romans do, but you ain't supposed to forget who the hell you are, because they don't. They don't. And so I don't want to take up any more time, because I think this is a time that we need to hear. We need to hear people. We need to hear you. We need to hear. And I just leave with this, because I've been doing this all week. Eternal God, our Father, in the wonderful name of Christ Jesus. Lord, I simply thank you to address these brothers, Lord. I thank you, Lord, because they stand in the way and they cry out into the darkness, and they feed us with the knowledge that we should have. And we paint with broad brushes, Lord, and we miss the mark of understanding and asking the simple question, who are we? What are we? Where do we come from, Lord?
Yes, sir.
Because anytime an individual's life is oppressed, anytime you can look and see from one generation to the last generation to this generation, you said those were called. And you see, you can go on and on and on, man. But when it's coming from the heart, brothers, I love you, and thank you for letting me do that. I appreciate you.
Thank you, brother.
Thank you, brother. Thank you.
Thank you, beloved.
Banava?
Yeah, I guess, Brother Shaheed, tell us real quickly how we can follow you and when the book is going to be out.
Okay.
And Brother James, you can take that last minute and close us on the money.
Okay.
Yes, sir. So you can follow me at Shizza Rain on Instagram. That's SHZAREIGN. That's on Instagram. I am on Facebook as well. And my email address is SHZAREIGN@gmail.com. I'm available on the lecture circuit, the college lecture circuit, the mosque lecture circuit. Look for the books, both Thy Kingdom Come, The Stone, the Greek Myth, and the Black Fraternal System. Take a second look, my sister. Look for their return in the latter part of May, early part of June. Look for me on the horizon. I got some other things that I'm working on. I actually would like to go to the screen, but let y'all close out. Please support this program. And Brother James, I know you can tell us more. Please support the Final Call. Please support the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan.
Absolutely. Thank you, Brother Shaheed.
All right.
And it's great. Brothers and sisters, we get ready to take a break, but go to straightwords.com. Go there right now while we're on our break.